Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do now is a little promo for what we're doing on this Sunday. And I want to explain that the Sunday is like a preview, isn't it, Evan?
Yes.
Of what we're going to do down at Bundaberg. And I'm fully aware of the fact that the majority of people who watch this at different times probably won't be able to get there. And I want to make the point that if you can't, sure, you won't be involved in everything because there's going to be rock workshops. There's going to be workshops outside the main hall where we're going to film. And there's also stalls that take place, and there'll be a welcome to country on Thursday night. That part you won't get, but what you will get is the speakers who are going to be speaking in the main hall. And what's really important about this is what's different about this is that the speakers who are going to be speaking are elders, old way practitioners, original people, along with non-original people. We have a mixture of both. Now, the majority will be original. Now, one of the things that might put a lot of people off is they probably don't know these people because they've never done this sort of thing before, because it's never been put on in this country, has it?
No.
There's never been a 3-day event or 3 night and 2-day event that is primarily focused around one theme. And as a result, a lot of these people who are wonderful speakers, and what we did was, this is about chapter 37 or something? 38. And as most people who've watched this would know, we've had quite a few people, original people speaking. And we chose the people that fitted into a narrative we're going to give. And in that narrative, we've got different, we've got Arnie Trudy Roberts, we've got Murray, we've got Jandomara, we've got Uncle Alan. We've got quite a few original people who'll be talking about Old Way. And that is different in itself. Now, what I am suggesting is for those of you who can come, you'll be coming to something that's completely different than any other presentation before. Number one, 2 days and 3 nights, I think it's $250, isn't it, Evan?
Mm-hmm.
Normally, that sort of event would be around $1,000. This has not been done, and I know some people have complained that we're even charging $250, but I would ask you, how would you then, if you charge nothing, who's going to pay for the rent for 4 days for the place that we're renting, which is a massive area? Who's going to pay for the flights? Smacker Wyman's coming up from Sydney, and I think Sarah Bignell's coming from Melbourne, isn't she? Well, who's paying for that? And of course, the gentleman who's running this, Wayne, is also paying for their petrol if they're coming that way, their plane flights, and he's also paying for their accommodation, and he's also paying amount of money for their food. Well, at the moment, he's going to make a loss. So please don't complain about the fact that we're charging money, because at the moment he's going to make a loss. So I don't think that's a fair comment. And what we're trying to do is to make it cheap as possible so people can attend. Now, Bundaberg is a place up in Sydney, up past Brisbane, and it will be warmer there than it will be in Sydney or Melbourne by a long way. And it's only 10 minutes from the beach, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're staying at the beach and then driving across. So it's not far, and it's not a bad place to go, and it's something different. Now, what I wanted to talk about today is on the Sunday, we'll have some of the speakers who's going to pop in for a while and do a 15-minute talk about this. And as we mentioned before with this, if you come, you can camp there, and that's included in the price.
So
all the expenses there.
As you can see on the ticketing page, you get a free ticket with camping. You can come one day, or you can actually come online, and you can either come online on the Friday or the Saturday, or both.
Yeah.
So you've got options there.
And all of them are as cheap as they possibly can be, because we do want to get this out. Now, we've had lots of issues.
Oh yeah, we got cheaper tickets for kids.
Yeah, and under 5 it's free. So look, we're trying to do everything.
Concession ticketing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well.
If you're a
pensioner or
They're unemployed, that we've cut money for that too. And we've tried to make this reachable for everyone, and we couldn't make it cheaper if we tried. If we charged a lot more money, we probably only need 30 or 40 people and we'd break even. But we're not doing that. So what I wanted to talk about right now is something we'll talk about on the day in more detail. I do want to explain something, and most people that are watching this probably aren't aware of this, that because of due to the instruction of elders like Kano, Uncle Marbach and others, your rabbits have opened up the door.
See the little brown thing on the ground?
Yeah, okay.
Halfway through making my bed.
I am the custodian, probably a better word is keeper of some rocks, of which 3/4 are not with me anymore. They're down in Ramangeri country because we made an agreement with the Ramangeri, and particularly Kano, when he set us on this task, that they'd be stored on country and people could come and do ceremony. Now, what I wanted to explain today with the rocks, because often we get people telling us to put them back on country, don't we, Evan?
Put them back.
Put them back. Well, there's two or three things that need to be understood about that.
Many
Number
reasons
one,
why that's not as simple as it might seem.
no, it's not. The first reason is, number one, we've never gone and got the rocks. They were given to us by other people. It's been constant. I mean, a couple of months from now, we're going to go down to Tasmania. We've been invited by the elders down there to look at some rock arrangements and some amazing rocks that are obviously from the same group as we're going to talk about. We get invited onto country by elders, and they're fully aware of how these rocks are not going to a museum, they're not going to a showcase, they'll be put on country and put into ceremony. Now, do we know where they come from? Of the 300 odd rocks, I think I could count on two hands the number of rocks where we know the location. And I'm going to show you one now. I'm going to hold this one up at the moment, this particular rock, which the Smithsonian Institute, who are aware of this rock, said it's unlike any other rock in the world. And they've made multiple offers to store it in one of their storerooms in a box and never come out again to be seen. Now, what I want to say about this particular rock was found by Roz, and that's why we call a lot of these rocks Roz's Rock 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it was dug out of the ground about 1.5 meters beneath the surface and landed on the top, and Roz and about 5 other people saw it, and they'll all sign stat decks to say this is true, that 1.5 meters means it was put there around 10,000 years ago. Now, what's important about this particular rock? Yes, we do know where it came from. It's about, there's a picture of it now. It comes from it comes from Darkingon country, and Darkingon country is solely sandstone. This rock is not sandstone. So the first thing I can share with you about these rocks is if we do know where they came from, that's the place they were last placed. It's not the place they came from. It may not
be the origin place.
It can't be the origin with this one because this particular rock is clearly not sandstone, and it is only sandstone country there, which means straight away those lectures and people telling us stuff like this, well, they're wrong in the first instance. Now, in the second instance, you need to understand we've had this rock looked at by one of the most eminent academics, geologists in the country, who actually was running a geology department in a university. We won't mention which one because we want to remain anonymous. And he said, this is the greatest mystery he's ever seen in his life. Now, just freeze on that one for a sec, please, Evan, because what I want to show you is you look at this second rock here, which is number 2, and you'll see, can you see the cut line that runs inside where they've made that marking? I want you to pause and think for a second and work out what tool was used to cut a rock like that with that precision and that constancy all the way around then to make this shape, which is the letter A. And you'll even see it. Can you do it on that one there, going down there? You'll see it in that letter A where it's cut through there. Now, I can tell you this is not stick, stone and bone technology. Now, some of these rocks have been shown to original people and they've said it's not ours. We don't know what it is. And they don't, because it doesn't come from stick, stone, but technology. It comes from ancient times when this particular country was part of Lemuria and when Atlantis existed. And therefore, to say to put it back on country when, and I can tell you on occasions, we have sent one rock up to Armland, didn't we? And we said, look, we know it came from up there. Would you take it back? And the elders said, no, we will not take it back because we don't know the song, we don't know the ceremony, and all we know is it's ancient, way past. It was at a time when original people had technology and gave it up, not through ignorance, but through wisdom and enlightenment. Because when Atlantis blew up and the whole world, the population of this planet during the Younger Dryas dropped by 95%, they knew what did it. And they all said one thing, well, that didn't work out well. Let's give technology a miss. And for the next 5,000 to 6,000 years, there was nothing. Everyone was hunter-gatherers, and then the event was forgotten, wasn't it? But it was never forgotten in Australia. So these rocks are original, and they will be going back on country. We've made that agreement with a tribe, and that's been done. But you can't say they go back, this one, particularly one I held up, you can't say we put that back in that country because it didn't even come from there. So that's very important. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a few of the rocks that are going to, and this is what we're going to do. During the time this is taking place, there'll be the main hall where there'll be talkers, and then there's going to be workshops taking place elsewhere. Stay on that one for a while. Okay, go back to that. Okay, right. And then what's going to happen past that is there'll be other things going on. You might decide after a while, look, I'm going to go into a workshop and I won't go to the main hall. Fine, do that. It's okay. This is like a university where you come and go. And also, while this is going on, during the 2 days, there will be, well, it depends on the number of people, somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. If you put your name down, you will go into a special hall and you will do a 5-minute ceremony, or maybe up to 10 minutes, depending on the numbers, where you will lay inside about 80 of the rocks. The ones I've still got, the rest are gone. They're waiting for a culture centre we're trying to build, and we've had weekly meetings with the Ramangeri working on that. And you'll sit inside those rocks for 5 to 10 minutes. Now, we did this, didn't we, Evan, with about 300 people and got them to fill out forms. And 297 when sitting inside there.
Yeah, I'll just find that article actually.
297 people when sitting inside there filled out on that form that they got a reaction when they sat inside these rocks. Now, we know the 3 that didn't. 2 were fill-ins. The people who were going to come bought the ticket and they couldn't come, and they just grabbed someone who knew nothing about it, and to be honest, should have never come. But they did. And the 3rd one is Juanita, a person we know quite well. And what happened with her is she said nothing happened. And she told us that many times, didn't she, Evan? But on the 3rd occasion, she sat between the rocks. She had some major issues with her back that had been going on forever. She was stunned. She got healed. In fact, before she moved to Tasmania, and she was living up this way, she begged to come back down and sit between the rocks again a 2nd time because they did work. So what I'm saying is, I'm not making a guarantee, but we're batting at 99%, and it's more than that because one of those 3 people then got a reaction further on. So what I can tell you is...
Okay, here we go. I found it.
All right. Oh, there is the article. And what we're going to show you there, if you look at it, it was filled out, and you can look at this article and it will show you a summation of about 200, because we did more past that point, of the evaluation sheet and the scores that took place. So what happens is this. To begin with, during the first 2 days,
there you go.
There is basically a fill-in, and you'll notice the number was 295 people filled this out, and 292 said, my God, when I sat in there. And then it breaks down the type of reactions they got, the types of messages they've got. And what you will find from that is, ladies and gentlemen, that there is an incredibly high chance that you'll get some sort of palpable, measurable reaction to just laying inside these rocks. But then further on the 2nd night, because in the nighttime we have activities too. Now, most people don't do that, do they? We have nighttime activities. One is sort of like a get together, a new age sort of thing that a lot of people are interested in, and I'm not so much into that, but I acknowledge it's real, and we've got Vicky Burke doing that. And on the 2nd day, we're going to have a 2-hour workshop with the rocks. Now, if you've already sat with them, then you get up close and personal and you get to look at them and hold them. But there is a rule with this. To hold them, you must have gloves on, whether they be cotton, wool, leather, I don't care. They can't be synthetic. The rocks will not tolerate that. You will be able to hold them, and you are not to take them away, believe me, because they'll kill you if you do that. And I'm not joking about that. They will, won't they, Evan? We know that because we know stories of people who've died touching these rocks, don't we, Evan? And we know people who got incredibly sick touching these rocks. So therefore, we don't want that. And what you will be doing is we got to, during the time you do ceremony, we've got a friend of ours, 2 friends, Shane and Annette, who will be sitting alongside to make sure this is all done properly. It'll all be supervised. And then on that night, on the second night, on the Saturday night, we're putting on a 2-hour workshop where you get up and close and personal with them. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a couple more of these rocks to get you a feel for a couple of things. Next one I'm going to hold up is this one. And you'll notice what's happened here. Just notice the punches. They've actually punched this into the rock. Now, I want you to think again about the idea of stick, stone and bone. How do you punch into a really hard rock like this? On this side, they turned it into a warrior. I believe this could be Orion. And on the other side, there's star maps. And this is being glossed over. How do you do that? Here's another one I'm going to show you, this one here. And this is a rock. You can see the rock underneath. It's been coated. And the machinery for that particular rock, leave it on that one, please, Evan. The machinery for this particular rock and the making of the rocks, the star rocks, Uncle Marbach called them, there is a machine that does that. Now, notice very carefully on that rock, you'll see the rock underneath is completely different. It's sort of a creamy grey pot. You'll notice this thing. And Evan's going to run his hand along that, this piece here. Now, what's happened with that is when this rock was heated, it was reheated a second time, and then the coat melted and ran down the side of the rock, down this side here. And that was so my thumb could sit on top. Now, what I want you to think about is reheated. Okay, it's a silica, which means we need 3,000 degrees Celsius to heat it, but then it was localized to the top, not the rest of the rock, like a candle. And what happened is the rock itself, as it ran down the side, it solidified on the side, which means that the rest of the rock was not heated. This is technology, ladies and gentlemen, that is difficult today. And notice that arrangement of stars there, which we had identified. And that is identified by Dr. Derek Cunningham, wasn't it? And he said, my God, that's Corona Australis. Now, most people aren't familiar with Corona Australis, and you wonder why. And that, of course, is the Southern Cross. All this, the star maps on each side. Do we know where it came from? Wouldn't have a clue, because most of these rocks were bought online and they never gave tribal locations. Sometimes they might say New South Wales or Queensland, and that's it. But remember, once again, how could you make a rock like this with a coat like that, standing over a campfire and getting the campfire up to 3,000 degrees, then localizing it a second time to melt it down the side? Impossible. Next one, turn that around to each side, please, because a lot of that's been gone. This one here, this is different. This is not cut. These are embossed. This is where they've laid things on top and made patterns. How do you do that in a campfire? You can't. It's the same issue. Okay, and every one of these rocks is different. No two have the same motifs, and I can tell you now, none of them have tribal motifs that we're aware of today. That's got the ridging on both sides. And this rock has been held in the hand for tens of thousands of years, and nearly all of it's rubbed away. Okay, and there's one more I'm going to hold up now, which is this one. Now, you can see these markings that run all the way around. The top piece there has been cut out. They've put a layer on top of that. When bits come away, you can see where bits come away on the top there. Now, my question is, what was this for? Is this a weapon? Is this to make tools? Is this to crush food? No. These rocks are sacred. And never before have all these rocks come together, and the day will happen. They'll be set up in Ramangeri country, and you know what? People can go down and sit inside them and do ceremony with them. They'll be supervised again. You are allowed to sit inside for up to 10 minutes on one occasion. You can do it every second day. You cannot do the ceremony 2 days in a row because it's just too much. There's too much of an overload. Now, unfortunately for those people who can't come and want to, and they can actually pay to watch the whole thing, and it's only $50 per day, you will not be involved in that ceremony. I mean, I'm sorry about that, but you can't be. And it can't be set up. We can only film this in the main hall, can't we, Evan? Yeah, that's right. And this will be in a smaller hall, so therefore, but that will be open to the people who come. Okay, and I'm hoping, the hope is that if this works correctly this time, and that we at least don't make a loss out of this, then Wayne is prepared to try and do this again. But we've got to try and make at least break even. That's all he wants to do. So anyone that thinks that this has been done for any sort of money reason, you're on the wrong track here. All the others are. This is not. This has been done to get out something that's special and different for the first time. And if it works the first time, we want to go again. So we're relying on people to come along. And if you can't come along, we get that. You can still help this go again by purchasing tickets to actually watch the thing. And you'll be able to watch 1 day for $50, 2 days for $100. That's incredibly cheap because we go from 9 to 5 both days. So everything is as cheap as it can be. There will be around about 80 of these rocks set into a sacred formation, of which I know how to set them up because I've been with some of these rocks now for at least 10, 15, some 15 years now, isn't it? I think number one's 15 years and a lot of the other ones past that. Again, I'm not the keeper. I'm not the owner of the rocks. When people buy the rocks or bought them or give them to us, I always explain the same thing. They will be going on to country. They're not ours to keep. They're ours to look after and set this up. And this is part of that process. So join us on Sunday.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see some of the speakers. As well. And
then if you're not sure and thinking, well, what are they like? Well, we're going to bring a couple of speakers on. You get a feel for that. I'll go into a bit more detail with the rock ceremony. I'll talk about this a bit more. And then further on in the piece, we have our customary interview with Mesref, our off-world alien guide, mentor, and teaser of information, Evan. Yep. When we get information, most of the information we give up, we do privately, and a lot of it we can't put up. But I can tell you, trying to get an answer out of Mesref, he'll give you an answer, but it's the one he wants to give, and it's never what you want. But anyway, we'll be doing that. We were going to do it last time, and I was looking at the story of Jesus and Christianity.
You might want to send that soon, actually.
Hey?
You might want to send the next set of questions soon.
She's still got them. I've sent them to her.
Oh, right. Okay, got it.
I've sent them to Leah.
Yep.
Okay, I did them up and sent them quite some time ago. Okay. Anyway, we're going to be doing that as well. It'll be about a 3.5 hour presentation. And yes, it'll be mainly about what's taking place there. But like I said, you may not be able to actually come, but you still can be part of it. And we're only asking $50 just to watch 1 day. And if you like the first day, then they could pay $50 for the second day, couldn't they?
Exactly.
But the best alternative, if you can, is to actually come. Yes, and I know outdoor activities are now quite, they're not that popular, but it's not an outdoor activity, is it? Mm-hmm. You're inside all the time. If it's raining outside, you won't get wet. Mm-hmm. And there will be about 50 or 60 stalls there. If you want to buy things, you can. And if you feel like I need a break from this for a while, you can go to a workshop in a different area or just go wander around the stalls for a while and come back. You come and go as you please. Okay, once you've put your ticket in and you come inside, you determine what your program is. And we offer you 3 options there. Okay. And hopefully you'll come along, and if you're not, you might watch what we're going to do on Sunday and think, yeah, I think I will come. Right. So try it out. Okay,
ladies and gentlemen. See you in a few days.
Yep, definitely.